Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sportcat Daily News. The Gloomy Gazette is what I'm calling it. Hope everybody's having a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, from coast to coast and around the world, you're listening to the Sportcat Show.
That's right. You've got the one, the only Sportcat. I am here for the next hour-ish to go over news, headlines, things of topic. I don't know, stuff that intrigues me. So I hope that I get a chat that I can engage with, and we'll go forward. So a little bit about me. I think I said this yesterday. I am a retired paramedic firefighter, and I am kind of doing this just for something to do. Although I will admit I've made a bunch of great friends doing this, and I've learned a lot from people doing this. So I'm just playing at the moment since I'm waiting on the audience to come up. If somebody's in the chat, if you can give me a sign you're there, just wave or hello, something. I don't know. Or I could just be talking to myself, which is something that I do quite frequently. So it's been a interesting day. For those of you that watch my show regularly, I will have to be returning to Knoxville for a brief period of time. So I may not be doing the show tomorrow. I'll see how it goes for Thursday and Friday. We'll figure it out from there. But I'm going to have to go to Knoxville and take care of some things. There will still be a show Wednesday night. The pair are normal guys. I have two great guests lined up. It's at 9 o'clock here on this channel on the pair are normal guys. Make sure you come over and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're in the chat, hit that thumbs up, the like button, add a comment. It helps spread it around the algorithm of the tube. So yeah, I've got the show Wednesday night coming up. The pair are normal guys. And we've got two great guests. I've got Greg Ogles, who you might know he's actually becoming kind of a regular on the show. He is the creator of the movie The Land Between the Lakes. It's an area in a national forest between Tennessee and Kentucky that has a lot of Bigfoot and dogman activity, and he made a film. He's got some great video and audio evidence on the film. I went to the premiere, and it was pretty dang cool. So I'm looking forward to having him back. Hey, Wendell, glad to see you here. I'm looking forward to having him back. And then we've got another guest. She's an author, a mystery author, Western author, and she's got some paranormal stuff to share as well. So it's going to be a good time Wednesday night. Make sure to come over and check us out. The pair are normal guys, where I'll be joined by at least one of my hot ladies. Amanda, I'm not sure about any of the others. The snow has Cheyenne trapped in the mountains, so not sure when she'll be able to escape. So, all right, well, I guess we'll just get on with the show. I want everybody to know that I try and do some research for this show before I go live, and I want to make sure I can get the news to you as fresh as I can. And I want to make sure that you understand, of course, this is just my opinion, and you can see the websites that I'm sharing it from. So it's not like you should take my word as, I don't know, a lawyer or whatever. But no, I'm not that intelligent. So make sure to check anything out that you research or look up. Also, you'll notice when I share the screen, there's a clock with a date on it. The clock on the left is Eastern time with the date, and the clock on the right is Universal time, or is what's called Zulu. So that is timestamped so that people can see when they're watching this back. What's up? All right, well, let's go ahead and start it. Let's figure out here. All right, so this here came out yesterday afternoon, actually yesterday evening. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. There's too many of these shows on the internet where people talk about it's the end of the world, World War III, we're all going to die, whatever. Okay. We have to live our lives every day. We can't control what goes on with exterior factors. So take that into consideration whenever you get the information. Wendell's asking, is the lady Neona Flynn? No. Hold on, Wendell, I'll tell you your name exactly. because I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's pull it up in my calendar here, because if I didn't have this, I would be lost. No, her name is Ann Charles. She's a USA Today, it's easy for me to say, best-selling author, and she's got award-winning books published: humor, mystery, suspense, romance, and supernatural. So that's what she has. So hope that answers your question, Wendell. She is tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, the guest. Okay, so let's get back to this. This is a public service announcement. They listed an alert, and I assume all these numbers up here at top. It's a public service announcement stated 1/13 of 25. I'm sure the I is interagency. I think. I don't know what the I is for. But they put this out, and they say the threat of copycat attacks after the ISIS-inspired vehicle attack in New Orleans. All right, so this is a summary from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You see their logo up top. And the Department of Homeland Security, you see their logo up at top, are issuing the public service announcement to highlight a potential public safety threat from violent extremists in response to the New Year's Day attack in New Orleans, Louisiana. As with any potential threats in the United States, we will coordinate with our state and local law enforcement partners to ensure they have the resources and information to keep our community safe. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. As far as the threat, the FBI and DHS are concerned about possible copycat or retaliatory attacks due to the persistent appeal of vehicle ramming as a tactic for aspiring violent extremist attackers. Previous attacks inspired by foreign terrorists, hereafter known as FTO, who have conducted vehicle attacks in the United States and abroad, have used rented, stolen, or personally owned vehicles. That pretty much sums up every vehicle, which are easy to acquire. Some have additional weapons, such as firearms and knives. Pay attention to the knives part in that. To attack individuals after the vehicle is stopped. Additionally, attackers may attempt to conceal in pre-possession IEDs, improvised explosive devices, to supplement a vehicle attack. Targets have included pedestrians, law enforcement, military members, crowded public venues, including festivals, commercial centers, which generally accelerate from roadways. We ask that the public remain vigilant regarding the possible copycat or retaliatory attack and report any suspicious behavior to law enforcement. The FBI and DHS encourage the public to promptly report information concerning, you would think I would learn to talk, suspicious activity to the tips line or call 911. Then it goes on how to mitigate potential threats and how to report them. And they list law enforcement officers, first responders, faith leaders, community leaders. And I'm assuming when they talk about funding opportunities, they're talking about people that collect money for whatever. Apparently they're a threat too. This is an unclassified bulletin that they released to the media. Now, I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist, but I am for a moment. You'll notice up here it has FBI's logo. Let's see if I can make this bigger. It's got the FBI logo, and then it's got the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and this agency, which I'd never heard of, IC3. And so I had to do a little research. IC3, they compartmentalize everything in the government. And IC3 is actually under the FBI. Their internet crime, I'll give you the whole title in a second, but they're basically internet crime. So I thought it was interesting that they released this, and I'll show you why. Because if you notice up top here, you don't see anything that says official public announcement. Now, am I just being conspiracy theorist? Let's look into this a bit. So hold on a second. Let's bring up the next screen. All right. So the Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, is who basically put the alert out. And if you notice up here, hold on, let's see if I can zoom into that. This is an official website of the United States government. Here's how you know. And you click on that, and it tells you if it's .gov, it's secure, blah, blah, blah. Now, remember, that wasn't on the other one. Why? So the IC3 is basically the Internet Crime Complaint Center for the FBI. And so the IC3, the subcompartmentalization of the FBI, if I'm making sense to you still, is who released this bulletin. This is an official government website. And when you click here, you get to go to the headlines here, and you can scroll down and you can find their IC3 alerts. But you notice, once again, that's not up there. So maybe I'm just being conspiratorial. So I digress a bit. Let's see here. I gotta learn how the hot buttons are on the computer. So we've seen what the IC3 is. The IC3 is the Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is an official website or a division of the FBI. All right, so let's hop over here to the FBI real quick. So here's the FBI. Here's their latest press releases. Once again, notice official website of the United States government. Let's scroll down through here. Justice Department and FBI conduct international operation to delete malware used by China hackers. Cool. These are all dated today, 1/14. FBI releases violence against American Indians, Alaska Native females, 21-23 special report. And they've released a investigative update on the Bourbon Street attack, which is really good. Maybe we should take a look at deep dive on that. Then they go back to multiple foreign nationals accused of distributing large amount of narcotics in Utah. Auburn man sentenced to 35 months for cocaine-based trafficking. R.J. Joseph Rothcock named special agent in charge of the Dallas field office. So there's a new guy in charge there. Huntington man pleads guilty to fentanyl. Man admits to staging auto accidents to commit insurance fraud. All right, I can go down, but from 111 to 113, FBI recognizes Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and Huntington man pleads guilty to fentanyl. I don't see on the official government website of the FBI that release. And I've scrolled through here to look, and featured update on Bourbon Street, a new boss in town, new one leaving, violence. They're still looking for people from January 6, 2021. Okay. Yeah, you get into all these news stories. These weren't updated since November of last year. They've got a podcast out with a new mission miniseries. That's cool, but that was December. Press releases, I go down through here, and there's nothing. I am on the official FBI site. It's as noted up there. It's not under listed. We looked at the news. It's not listed there. You would think that would be front and center if the FBI wanted to send out information. Did they tweet it? I didn't look for that. Well, public service announcement. So they tweeted a public service announcement from the official FBI Twitter. So the FBI and DHF have issued a public service announcement, which is what we saw. It's the IC3 alert. Hey, Amanda, thank you. Looking forward to seeing Wednesday night. I'll be in Knoxville, so I'll be close. So that's the only reference I can find on the official government website of the United States. Like I said, maybe I'm just being a little conspiracy minded here. It's hard to say. So for giggles, let's go over to Homeland. National Terror Advisory. Current advisories. There are no current advisories. Okay. The bulletin they put out was in May of 23, has expired. There's nothing mentioned here. And I am once again on the Homeland Security official government website with the National Terrorism Advisory System. If DHS and FBI wanted this out and they subcompartmentalized it to the IC3, which has an official government website, why does the Public Service Announcement Bulletin not have an official government website listed up top? Now, this is being reported in all media, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, MS, everybody is reporting it because it was released by the feds. But yet, on the FBI and the Homeland, we're at no current advisories on either, but we have a public service announcement that doesn't show the official government website. And other podcasts, I won't name them, but basically they're the ones that tell you the world's going to end tomorrow. We're going to be in World War III. China's going to invade Taiwan, and then they're going to attack us before they go into Taiwan, blah, blah, blah. We don't know any of that to be true. But yet we have a public service announcement coming out to the media from a non-official government site. So that's, to me, very confusing. And I'm sure will have gotten the attention with some of my search engines of the feds. Maybe one of you would like to email me, sportcat@protonmail.com, and enlighten me. If a fan or a viewer knows the answer to this, let me know. I just find it surprising that there are no advisories on Homeland or FBI. You'd think one of the two would have it, right? On the official website, there's nothing there. Doesn't exist. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I was trying to get my favorite conspiracy nut in here, but apparently she's still asleep. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. It may mean nothing. It may just be an official. Oops. Well, what button did I push? I don't know what button I pushed, but it went away. All right. So yesterday when we were leaving the show, I don't know if you recall, we talked about there was a possible tsunami alert for the West Coast. That's just what they need, don't they? A tsunami, an earthquake. Good Lord, they've got enough problems out there. So what had happened was there was an earthquake. Let's see if I can find it here. No, that's in Russia. I think it's down here. A 5.5 in Japan that caused the alert. I thought it was China. Well, at any rate, so it would occur on the other side of the Pacific Ocean, and it caused a possible tsunami alert for us. So that was what that was. This is on the USGS official website. You can go look and see the most recent earthquakes. The most recent one was in Hawaii and in Japan. California did have one earlier today, appears 2.9 in Klamath, which I believe is Northern California. So Southern California so far has only had I'll say a small one of 2.7. I looked it up, and the shake pattern wasn't very large on it. And if you go to the website, you can look at their shake pattern. It'll show you the area that people felt it in. So here's all the earthquakes worldwide. These are the Hawaiian ones. And, of course, these are up in our top state up there, not part of the lower 48 in Alaska. They're always having some activities up there. That says it was just updated. A central mid-Atlantic ridge. So what was that one? A 5.7. Now I wonder if that would issue a tsunami alert. Central mid-Atlantic ridge. Interesting. Okay. So it would probably affect more like down in South America and down there. Does it have any in Georgia? Great question. No. The USGS is not reporting any in the South except for one here on the Texas border, which, let me bring it up. It was in New Mexico. So that was the most recent one. And this lists the past couple days earthquakes when you go to the website. It's USGS if you want to fact check me and look it up. All right, let's go to another screen here. All right. So every day I told you I wanted to do the daily briefing. So we're going to do the FEMA daily operations briefing. If you weren't here yesterday, basically this is part of the documentation that the president receives daily. This is the declassified part because they don't give me the good stuff. So I try. Trust me, I try. Wendell says Lithonia has several a year. I'm very aware of that. The lake that I live on was formed by an earthquake. So I'm very, very aware of that. All right. So national current operations are things they're monitoring. Of course, the wildfires in Southern California, and then they're expecting extreme fire weather in Southern California, and the Great Lakes are expecting some serious snow. Since yesterday, no new declarations of activity for disaster and no event they're monitoring. Now, the South California wildfires, well, there's still some of them that are uncontrolled. It's red flag because of the winds, which are expected to extend for, I think, tomorrow night, maybe longer. I'll get on that in a second. There's 7 shelters open with 705 people sheltered in the shelters. Currently, there's 8,802 firefighters. It says that's an increase of 540 from the day before. Remember, they divide them up into half. It's 24-hour shifts. You're 24 hours on, 24 hours off is the shifts. They still have the curfew in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Once again, I listened to the press conference, and the public information officer stated there once again have been multiple arrests. Not all of them were arson. Yes, I believe 2 of them were people caught. One, the police department caught somebody with a blowtorch, and the other one, concerned citizens caught someone. So there have been 2 that were pyros, I guess. We'll leave it at that. But anytime you're in a mandatory evacuation zone, your constitutional rights can be challenged because the government has declared an emergency and they have a right to stop and search. And during these stop and searches, these people who are violating the curfew for some reason have had drugs, narcotics, and weapons on them, and some of them actually had a warrant. I do not understand, if you've got a warrant on file, why would you go into a federally protected area, especially at night? I don't understand. Maybe I'm not the brightest person in a box. So basically, if you zoom in, we'll get a bigger picture of the map here in a minute, but it's still all down in Southern California. The LA region has been deeply affected. They're still needing bottled water, so they're getting the military to bring it in. The Department of Health and Human Services has declared a public health emergency. That's probably due to the smoke toxicity of the air and things settling in the water. So that's pretty bad. There's a boil water advisory in effect for LA County, and a do not drink from certain areas there of the Southern California. So make sure that if you're there to check that out. It says there's 81,000 current people without power in Los Angeles and Ventura County. They're trying to keep the Department of Transportation's going, the expresses, the buses, and I guess their version of rails active. They're trying to keep everything going as normal as possible because people still have to work. Amidst all the disaster, you still have to go to work. That's something. All right, so more about them. The state is in full activation. The governor declared a state of emergency. And I want to point something out. Gavin Newsom did that probably is the first in United States history. He had the declaration of emergency done mobile. In other words, he was in direct contact with the White House and did this via text. Probably the first in history. I would imagine the first in history. Our technology has come so far that now the governors can text the White House and get a state of emergency declared. I think that's pretty dang cool, actually. So, yeah, they're reporting all FEMA offices are open and responding, and they're still monitoring other areas because of the high winds and high fire danger. Currently, the two fires, Palisades has burnt 23,713 acres, which they say is +6 from yesterday. It's 14% contained, which was +1 because, well, they had it only 13% contained yesterday. And in the Eaton, it is 33% contained and 14,117 acres. Let's put this in perspective. That is about 67-ish square miles. It's larger than the District of Columbia. That's a pretty significant area that has burned. And it's not all been brush and trees. It's been people's homes, businesses, schools, places of worship. It's been pretty much everything. The fire weather outlook down here from Bakersfield south to the San Diego is under a high danger alert because the winds extreme critical. No outdoor burning. They apparently have had several people that are homeless will find burn barrels and set up barrels to keep warm at night. I guess they're camping on their property, and that's causing a problem. So there's a burn ban in place. Do not use a barrel to keep warm. The fire weather outlook tomorrow is going to be slightly less, but it's still going to be extreme. So we pray that the Californians get through this, and firefighters and National Guard, first responders are doing an excellent job. Real quick, the national forecast. Texas down here, southern tip, going to get a little bit of rain. And then up here in the, what we call that, the northeast corridor from Maine down to West Virginia up to Michigan is going to get some significant snow with a little bit in the Rockies, Wyoming, South Dakota, and New England. Temperatures are expected to drop, by the way. If anybody hasn't heard, here in the South, we're going to have freezing temperatures by the weekend. So that's the national weather forecast. Snowfall forecast a little bit in the Rockies and across Colorado down through there. And of course, as we talked about, significant snow up in the northeast corridor and around the Great Lakes. My son's going to get more snow. He's already had, I've heard that, Greg, but I haven't seen an official report yet, which is kind of concerning because I'm going to be in Knoxville in the Smoky Mountains. So yeah, good times. I'm going to be trapped in Knoxville forever. My son in Vermont reported to me, asking us, how much snow have you got? And he said, well, I can't exactly tell you. I was like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, in some areas it's greater than 5 feet. He goes, but in other areas it's only 2 feet. So he asked for that. So the potential hazard areas and the hazard outlook for January 16th through the 20th. High winds down in the Southern California. Cold front is going to be dropping down. Hazardous cold temperatures. Us in the South, we're not used to the cold, so they're gonna, yeah, exactly, Greg. Yeah, good times. Yeah, Knoxville's right in the valley. Knoxville is going to get dumped on. So yeah, and we're not used to in the far South getting such extreme temperatures. All right, as yesterday we showed you their common operating picture. FEMA has 31 joint field offices plus 3 virtual. They manage 111 major emergencies and 10 emergency declarations. They're on 16 housing missions, and then they're on 26 other missions as well. So we talked about they have more than one mission as far as just bringing people in. They have to assemble teams from other states and bring them in. And when you talk about, we'll talk about a critical incident here soon. When you have an incident of such large size, they have to bring people from the outside in, and you have to coordinate. I'm bringing a team from Virginia to do this section. I'm bringing a team from Oregon to come down and fight this fire. It gets a little bit complicated. So we see California is pretty much a state of emergency. In the Carolinas, yes, they are still working on roads and infrastructure so they can get in there and get housing. It's unfortunate that we can't help more because of the cold temperatures coming into the deep South. So I wish that we could, but unfortunately FEMA is operating at about 75%. Yesterday it was 60-some%. You see today there's just barely greater than 25% availability of FEMA. And when I said FEMA, that also means their teams. So that means in these areas that are highlighted, there's lots of people working from lots of different parts of the country. So, yeah. Nothing new to report as far as declaration requests. The most recent one was California for the wildfires, and that was back in December. So that's it. Public assistance. They're talking about here how much they're trying to delegate to get to people. We're not going to get political on this show, even though they're still talking about COVID. So we're gonna avoid that subject from this show. The public assistance grant program. You can go look this up. This is on FEMA. This will tell you how much money is being awarded to each region of FEMA and how they're distributing it. And like I said yesterday, we are in the middle of an administration change, so look for these numbers to go completely nuts here soon. One way or the other. I'm not sure which. I'm not even going to venture to guess. So, yes, exactly, Greg. Exactly. So maybe we can use some of that money for other things besides for what they've done. So survivor engagement. This is talking about how many people they've actually come in direct contact with. And so you can see the numbers are quite high. And they're stating in some areas, Georgia is only, Georgia is 99, South Carolina is 98% complete. You see these numbers. To me, this has to be kind of skewed because North Carolina can't be 98%. There's no way. West Virginia, 93%. They don't even list Tennessee on here. And I know Tennessee needs assistance. So here it is. You can pull this up and go over all these little teeny tiny numbers if you'd like. And figure out where your tax paying numbers are going. And then you can look at the political field and see where it's going. All right, that's your FEMA daily briefing. I wanted to show that. That was, I want to try and do that daily. And we're going to hop back over here to an FBI story. The FBI is currently looking in the pilot's observation. You can see there's damage to the wing. And it was out of service for about 8 days, I believe. And let's think about that. At one point in time, I don't know what the heck just happened. At one point in time, they can drop 1,500 gallons of water on a fire. That was taken out of service because of some idiot with a drone that they're still looking for. It's the evidence they have collected so far. Hopefully there's some prints or something on there that they can find this person. So we talked about this yesterday. There is a no-fly zone around lots of areas of the country, but this specifically is a major one at the moment. If you want to go out and get your little TikTok video and your little 1 minute of fame, be prepared to be arrested. So, and as well you should. We'll keep going with the fire. Man, even as a firefighter, I hate having to report on fires every day. The incident management situation for today was dated 14th of January at 7:30 Mountain Time. They're talking about, this is, when we look at this, is brush fires. So initial attack activity, they had light 35 fires, no new large fires, 0 large fires contained, and there's still 4 uncontained large fires. All right, the critical, the CIMT is a incident management team. There's the national management team and the critical management team. And one is larger than the other because of the resources they have to use. So currently they're using 8 air tankers, C-130s. They're also using helicopters from Wyoming, Colorado, California, and Nevada. I think that they currently have 60 helicopters operating and 8 aircraft. The different fires across the country, we have 887 engines operating. That's fire trucks working on 39,681 acres with 163 crews. A crew is usually 3 people. and they say it's 96 less than yesterday. That doesn't really surprise me, even this one down here, minus 111, because of the amount of people they're bringing in from out of the states and stuff, and the way they have to rotate them on 24-hour shifts. So, and when you get a 24-hour shift, you don't necessarily have to go back to base camp. You can set up a camp and stay where you're at. Wildland firefighting is totally different than anything. So Southern California reported 11 new fires, but no new large incidents. There's still 3 uncontained. There's still management teams, 3 teams working on, 1 on each team. The Palisades is got California Team 2. They're in Brentwood. And then the Eaton is Los Angeles County Fire Department. They've got several teams working 4 miles northeast of Pasadena. I wish I knew my Western geography a little bit better. And now the Hearst fires, the LA Fire Department is working on that one. It seems as though they're the only ones on that mission. So that must be the one of lesser resources. Well, it's only 799 acres. Only 799 acres. Let's see. New fires, the one, which is the Hearst. No new large, and 1 uncontained large fire. So, in Arizona's had a small fire, but it's not, it's still uncontained. No, it's 80% contained. All right, so Arizona's fire is now 80% contained. Good Lord. Fire acres, this is by yesterday. California, 3, Southern California, 11. Well, actually, make it 12. And then Southwest, yet more. Eastern, I'm not sure where the Eastern is, because usually that's on the other side of the Mississippi. Southern, that must be the small Texas fire. And, well, there it explains it. That's for year to date. And always remember, safety topic of today is propane tank. If you have a wildfire in a propane tank, get out. They say you have 6 minutes to safety. That's how fast these storms are moving. Or not storms, these fires are moving. That's incredible. But if you think about it, modern construction homes can burn completely the ground in 12 minutes. Think about that. So we looked at this app yesterday that I recommended called Watch Duty, and it shows the fires that they're currently working across the country. And I did check on the other website. There is nothing east of the Mississippi. So these are the current wildfires that are burning, and you can tell, hey, Chris, good afternoon. You can tell the size of them by when you zoom in. You can see the amount of acreage and area that it's consuming. So we're still worried about the people in California. I started the show and I didn't really want to talk about firefighting stuff. Isn't that kind of funny, being me as a firefighter? But it seems like that's the topic of the day. I wanted to talk about other bad things. But I don't want this to end up being your daily end of the world news story. Because you can go find that at other channels. There's a guy that's not in this country that has a great show, but it's not me. In fact, I've joked often with my team that I would have a show that called Why We Didn't Die Today. So we talked about the forecast map. Nothing new here to report besides for snow and cold. Snow and cold. Just remember that. Snow and cold. Down here in Key West, down there it's still warm. Just want to point that out. The North Carolina victims, we still don't have them all sheltered in place. We don't have enough shelters open. And like I said, I'm not going to get political on this show, but I understand there's some people that have been turned away from places. So we are not doing all that we should be doing, and it's a shame. We should be taking care of our people. And somebody sent me a message saying, well, you're talking more about California than the Carolina people. I'm not intentionally doing that. That's because I'm trying to get the information out about the California wildfires. There are certainly people in the Appalachia area that need a lot of help too, that they're not getting. And our government should be doing a better job of that. I will argue that forever. All right. And then I did want to show you the current weather map This will also show you the hurricanes. There's no hurricanes that I know of. There's a tropical storm off the coast here named Irma. This is the current radar. You can see the snow up here. We talked about the different warnings. Freeze warning all the way down here in Jacksonville. Gale warnings. Looks like the riptide for the Gulf is clear. All the little blue dots are earthquakes. Here in the southeast, the most recent earthquake was this is the one we talked about yesterday in McMinn County, which is a couple days old, I believe. Let's see. It'll tell me a date. The 11th. It was a 2.2. That's the most recent one in the south. Columbia had one. Craig says he thinks a hurricane hit his closet. I think a hurricane's going to hit me. I have to get everything packed and thrown together. Studio, equipment, warm clothes to survive. Good Lord, it's a mess. So, all right, there you see it. All the snow up in the Northeast in the Great Lakes area. Everybody's prepared. Our friend Cheyenne is somewhere down in here, currently under snow advisory. So I don't know what county she's in. We'll just pick one down here where she lives and see what kind of warnings they have. They got extreme cold. Yeah, shocker. Cold weather advisory. And I don't see anything but snow. Okay, well, they're going to have some. So I hope she stays warm. And it looks like you're in the clear. I'm in the clear. Knoxville's in the clear for a little bit. So it's on the west coast mainly at the moment as far as earthquakes. Chris says he can confirm the Great Lakes snow is indeed true. Chris, how much snow have you got so far this year? Because yes, it looks as though up there they're still getting some. So yeah, depending on where you live. Yeah. So Amanda says it's the end of the world as we know it. I don't know that I go along with that, but there are people, and I talked to some people right before the show about some things, and they were like, they're trying to make us think it's the end of the world. I think that's it. Notice, once again, we're not talking about drones. We're not talking about drones. And I did some research on the drones. The drones are still there. The media is just being told not to report them. Why? It's still news. It's still something we should know, right? Does everybody agree? I don't know. So, all right, we're going to talk about wind here. I didn't bring this up yesterday, but I've got this site. This is really cool. You can just Google it or use whatever search engine. Lake effect snow as bad as swamp effect gas. This site is really cool because it gives you up to the minute, up to the second winds. The highlighted areas are different layers of air, basically turbulence. And if you note, there's usually always some turbulence over the mountains. That's pretty typical. If we look out here in California, you can see this off the coast is just creating circular rotations, and they're getting pretty constant, 10, 15 mile an hour winds with some gusts even higher down in there. So yeah, that's something. That's something. That's a lot of wind. And we talked about yesterday fighting fire in 100, 200 degree temperatures with 175, 100 mile an hour winds. Pretty, it sucks. It sucks. I've never done it, but it sucks. Let's see here. Chris says not a lot. It's just been an inch to inch and a half, but it's occurring like every day. Yeah. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what your area is, but some areas you have to plow it or brush it or whatever you do. See, this is my southernism showing. I haven't dealt with snow in so long. Every day you have to keep your driveway and your sidewalks clear. I've heard that from many people. So I don't know if that's true. Chris, you can tell me. I think my friends in Colorado have said it's true. And you can see how the wind is affected through the mountains as it goes, and it changes the direction. And you can also see the downward flow of this nice blue cold air. If we zoom out, well, it's a little too zoomed, but if we zoom out, we're going to start seeing all this cold air coming down into the south. It's already almost here. Boy, that wasn't English, was it? Already almost. Good Lord. I've been in the South too long. All right. We're going to move on to the disaster. Well, no, we're not. We're not going to go to disaster alerts because for some reason I just closed the window. Hold on a second. Let me open that back up. That's annoying. I shouldn't have done that. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here. Where is disaster alerts? Yes. Disaster alerts. Here we go. All right. It's pretty much the same thing that we've talked about already. Well, maybe I didn't show it because it wasn't there. Here we go. Let's see. Disaster alerts. This is worldwide. The most current is storms in Greece, high winds in Queensland, high winds in Sydney, earthquake in mid-Atlantic. We talked about that already. So, Chris says, yes, it's true. Don't want to become a target for a bogus slip and fall lawsuit from one of the evil people we talked about. Yes. And Greg says flamethrowers are perfect, but we discussed yesterday there was a person arrested for using a blowtorch and set his house on fire. So not only did he set his house on fire, he got arrested. Most of the stuff in America is for winds and weather related things. There's nothing in the United States that is other than pretty much natural or disasters, no man-made stuff. You don't get that till you get out here in these crazy areas of the world. That's where you get in Lebanon, the other crazy biological stuff to get notes of the world. So this was last updated at 1949, which if you look is 1949. So that's the most recent alerts. And you can also, once again, pull this up. It's just disaster alert. I'm just sharing it with my internet fam and discussing it. And like I said, I hope to one day get enough people in the chat where we can talk about it live and pull ones up that may be close to you. And I found this site. This site is really cool with the exception of one thing. It talks to you. So this is the National Weather Service's warnings that come out. This is called Weather Warning. It's a free site. They do accept tips. And every few minutes, well, if you look, it's actually greater than that, a warning would come out. And I had it on my computer. And I couldn't figure out where in the heck this voice is coming from. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's the alerts from the National Weather Service. So yeah, it's they put out alerts. I wasn't, freezing spray. Well, I guess, that's up to the Cape. It's something I've never had to deal with. Gale warnings, never had to deal with it. So yeah, I thought it was funny. I was like trying to find where this voice is coming from and what it's saying. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute, it's this site. So, and Maryland seems to test every few minutes. I don't understand because I kept getting tests from Maryland. So lake effect snow warning, extreme for the next 12 hours. That's the big thing. Vermont winter weather advisory. Shocker, Kyle, you're going to get some winter weather. New York it's just New York. Lots of snow. You can check this site. It's weather warned. It's actually pretty cool, but if you don't want to hear it in your ear, just turn the audio off. So currently where I'm at, it's only 53 and we've got 10-mile-an-hour wind gusts. I'm outside of Atlanta, east of Atlanta. All right, let's get into some of the cool stuff I like to talk about. Fire, but not wildfires that are killing people. We talked about this. This is the New England Association of Fire Buffs. They report on incidents throughout the South and throughout the Northeast mainly. And basically, we talked about this yesterday. New Hampshire, there was a fire up there. There's a couple fires in New Hampshire, Manchester, and Newton, Massachusetts. No, never mind. You know what I'm talking about. I clicked on that one, dummy. And then down here in Hartford, Connecticut, they had a large fire. 3-story brick occupied. You come down here into, what is this, in Chattanooga, in the 2800 block of East 46th Street. There's a huge working fire with a one-story home. Everybody's out on arrival. That's good news. Gwinnett County, that's my area. This is yesterday afternoon. I didn't even see this one. 4,000 block of McKinley Drive. Heavy fire and floor in a two-story house. Interesting. Another one in Atlanta. Memorial Drive. That would have been my old area. So. And Colonial Pipeline is just reporting a possible gas leak in Paulding County. So that'll be popping up soon. I just got the alert from my phone. Just what we need. Mobile, Alabama. They had a working fire in a one-story wood frame residence. That's all that they're reporting. Nothing too much going on in the fire scene. We'll get over here in a minute when we incorporate the fire and law stuff. As Chris saw yesterday, it jumped tremendously. We'll show you in here in a minute. And this is the alerts map. And we'll get into, we'll just stay in our neck of the woods. The United States, of course, we have the fires here in California. And I'm going to say that this is probably, well, no, this is a new one. We didn't see this. This is epidemic animal. U.S. egg industry has reported chicken deaths from a bird flu outbreak in Kansas. That can't be good for us. Down in Texas, they're still experiencing severe weather. Schools are canceling. Houston, firefighter escaped through a window during a 3-alarm apartment fire that damaged 8 units. Oh, that's pretty significant. Up here in this part of Indiana, persistent snowfall. 62 million people are still under the threat of serious snow. It is yet to deliver its blow. Great. Extreme rainfall down in Tallahassee. We reported on rain yesterday, and it never rained here in the South. Animal attack. Florida boy dies after being attacked by 2 loose dogs. Well, that's horrible news. And if you wanted details, you can get more details. I'm not going to. But a fire this is the one we reported on yesterday in the Little Havana district. Let's see. Up here in D.C. area, 3 police officers shot. We discussed that one yesterday. And some of these, I can change the dates, and I guess I should have, to only include the day that we're looking at it, since now we're going to be trying to do this daily. 9 hospitals after carbon monoxide leak. We discussed that yesterday. Please make sure to check your batteries and your carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. It could mean a life or death situation. And as for the United States, and like I said, once again, if you want to look at this site and go over here, you start getting into all kinds of crazy things. Fire in a munitions plant in Russia. Poland has got some weather advisories. So Chris says, you need snow, you need cold, you need crime. We can provide all that in Chicago. Well, we're getting there, Chris. In a minute, we'll show you how lit up it is. But this is a cool map, and it's updated fairly regularly. If there's anything I missed that you want to see, let me know. We can come back to it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy how we think we're isolated in just one little area. And if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture of everything going on around the world or across the world, depending on your view of the Earth structure. All right, and this one is called the War Map. We discussed this yesterday. I still don't know why it's called the War Map. But when we zoomed in up there, up in Chris's area, we had all kinds of cool stuff. Apartment fire. No, Chicago Fire Department's passed a fire out safety information smoke alarms because of a serious apartment fire recently. Interesting. I'm surprised they reported that. All right, I must be hitting the wrong one because that's saying, all right, 50th Indiana, the 55th Indiana. I don't know what the hell that's talking about. Maybe that's the 55th fire they've had to date. I don't know. And there you go. 13 hours ago, a 24-year-old male shot and killed in Chicago. And hey, it's my favorite Cheyenne. Hello, Shay. We're missing you. How are you? Are you still snowed in? Let's see here. So that's in Chicago. That's up there around you, Chris. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. Kind of surprising. Down in Atlanta, let's see here. This is probably 15 hours ago. One dead after shooting in Oneida. I don't know where that is. And homicide investigation in Atlanta. There's a shocker. What's this up here? That is a man caught and charged with murder after he fatally stabbed a Whitfield County woman Monday night. Interesting. So I'm glad that you're out, Cheyenne. Let's see what's happening up here in your neck of the woods. In Cheyenne's neck of the woods, a person was found dead inside a home that caught fire overnight in Charleston when firefighters were on scene. Interesting. Wendell, let's see what's going on here. In Wendell, there's not too much going on. A homicide in what is that? Birmingham. And then one dead, one injured after a barricaded situation. Interesting. And let's see. Where's everybody else? I have somebody in Nashville. One injured after shooting on Lafayette Street. Memphis, I'm sure that's going to be lit up. They responded to shooting calls. There's probably, if you zoom in, there's probably a bunch of them. Looks like there's a officer responded to 500 block of Thomas Street regarding a shooting. Found a male victim with apparent gunshot wound. He was pronounced deceased on the scene. They have one suspect in custody. That was Memphis. Let's see. Let's zoom out and see what else we can find. Down here, Baton Rouge. Firefighters are battling an apartment fire. Texas, they got plenty of crime down there. Okay, I don't know how this is being reported out of Houston. An hour ago, Biden administration will move to lift Cuba's state sponsor of terror designation and final. I guess that's just because it's the breaking thing. No, I don't know. I don't know why that popped up in Houston. That's interesting. All right. 4 minutes ago, heavy police presence in Aspen Court. They're investigating a drive-by shooting where a male suffered minor injuries and being valued by EMS. Why are we lifting? Never mind. We're not going to do political on this show. I'm going to try if you were interested in that. I forgot to mention, by the way, we are live on Jurg's Radio. You can go listen there, and Rainbow Radio. Thank you to Ross for allowing us to do that. He does the political stuff. So if you want political stuff, tune into him in the morning. He's got a couple hours for you, and it's good to go. And he is sharp on telling you anything you need to know about politics. Not me. So, all right. So that's the, what are we going to call this? The crime fire map. That's that one for today. How much time? I've already ran into an hour, and I've tried not to. Dang it. All right. I wanted to show this because I find this interesting. People never think about this. This is aircraft currently in the air. This isn't just planes sitting. These are planes that are aloft. And a lot of people don't ever think about that. At any point in time, over your head, there's a small city. I mean, that's a pretty concentrated, we start zooming in here and you can start seeing it's the Northeast Corridor. A lot of people going down south to Florida. There's a lot of traffic moving into Miami. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. You can see how really there are so many planes in the air that people never think about. Yeah, exactly, Cheyenne. People never think about when you zoom out and look at the United States, at any one point in time, you could have a whole city over your head. So, and we can limit this a little bit. We move this to what we call military, and it is amazing. It's pretty amazing. We narrow this down a little bit. This is down military aircraft and aircraft at a certain altitude, higher altitudes. And you can actually see areas that the military is doing things. You can actually track where they're coming and where they're going. Like this one is coming out of Miami. And what is it? That's a little prop plane. So it's probably a dignitary going on some type of mission. All right, get off of them. And you can find, let's say down here in Houston, Black Hawk. He's probably just training. But you can zoom in and see what your military is doing. It looks like this plane, this is a dignitary plane. It went from Houston to, where did it go? Did it stop down here in Miami, or did it just do? Well, it's made a big loop, which is kind of interesting because that's a dignitary plane. That's not a high flyer. There's a C-17, and you can see it's coming out of northeast, headed south. One thing I like to look at when I look at the military is, like, these are little training jets, but while they're training, they're doing things. And a lot of times, if you notice their patterns, you'll see them circling out over the ocean. They're looking for submarines. So, yeah, this is all the military operation. We can zoom out. And this is not just the military U.S. This is just the U.S. and NATO, probably. And you can see they don't always give where they came from and where they're going, which isn't always a bad thing. Like this one, for instance. Won't tell you where he's coming from or going. So yeah, another dignitary plane out from over there. I'm going to guess if that's a dignitary plane coming from that direction, he's probably been to Taiwan. Just a guess. So you can see the air traffic over Europe, and then you get into some areas and you can start seeing troop movement. A lot of these planes here, this is a German plane, is troop movement. And if you start paying attention to the patterns, you'll see that there's a lot of troop movement from the United States into Poland. It's something to think about with upcoming dates. So, yeah. And I didn't go over here and see, you can zoom in here and see these are military jets and helicopters working on the wildfires. And you can see how many. We talked about yesterday, the firefighters are on the ground. They're doing a great job. But I'll tell you, these air traffic controllers are doing a great job, because this is just military for the fire, which is, we know, is concentrated down here. This is just military. Let's take the military out and put everybody in. And because of the TFR, the temporary flight restrictions, there's less, but that's a lot of people and things to maintain in a small area. I mean, you can see how it gets covered up here at the airport. So those people do a great job of keeping us safe, and you don't realize it, but you have different regions of the country or the world that are broken up, that like New York and Atlanta control wide sections of the Northeast where all the planes are. Well, in that is also, they divide it up by every 1,000 feet. There's different operators so that you can keep different planes. Let's say I'm on a medical flight, my Learjet can fly at 55,000 feet, but a commercial airliner can maybe 40 tops. So they've got to keep everybody coordinated. They do. I mean, like I said, just zoom out and look at, these are basically, Cheyenne, just to put it in layman's terms, these are basically dispatchers telling all these planes where to go. And they do a phenomenal job. And we thank them every day for their service, especially when you look down here in California where they've got the added stress of that. So I wanted to show that. And then what else did I want to show? Oh, yeah, this. I found this interesting. We were talking about plane movement. Well, that's not the only movement we have. This is marine traffic. Every one of these little arrows is a different vessel of some type. Now, let's keep in mind that these are naval vessels, vessels over water, that a lot of the military doesn't talk and say where they are, but you can pull this up and see how many ships there are out at sea and how many are coming. You can see the ports and you can see the lines. This is just a line probably to get into Miami. So yeah, it's incredible when you start looking. And on these ships are hundreds of people sometimes. That's right. It's a very stressful job. And, I actually applied to do it and I was told I was too old. Apparently they want you from 18 to 35 and then they try and retire you because of the stress level. And maybe it wasn't 35. Maybe it was, at any rate, I was older than 35 when I applied and they were like, yeah, no. So now I asked him, he said, it's not personal. He says, we just, because of this amount of stress on the job. I wanted to try and zoom in because the news keeps talking about, and now I'll never find it. Where is China? China's over here. The news keeps talking about Taiwan and how they're being surrounded, being prepared for an invasion. All right, well, let's take into consideration that the military is probably not telling us where they're at. But if you look at all these other dots, I don't really know that it's possible for them to be being invaded. Now, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's in a small area. That's a lot of already air traffic. So, no, Antlers has never turned me down. So Antlers has always taken care of me. She's a very nice lady. So, but yeah, so that's when you think about all the goods and stuff we buy from China, it's either coming by way of cargo jet, which we just showed a lot of the air traffic, or by boat. And you can look there. And we're maybe, well, man, I'll have to ask. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of movement of people. We are truly, as much as we want to say we want to shut the rest of the world out, how can you do that in this and with the aircraft? Because not all of them were passenger. They were carrying cargo, and FedEx, UPS, and DHL, and I'm sure I'm missing some. They're all up in the air. FedEx has their own airports in places. So think about that. It's pretty crazy. All right. Yeah, I've run over my time here. All right. So I didn't cover anything yesterday. I don't really want to cover it today, but we're going to. We're going to do celebrity news because I advertise that we do talk about celebrity news here. So let's be fair. I didn't cover any yesterday. Let's see. Jason Kelsey. We know he is supporting Los Angeles firefighters. Also, last night, if you're a football fan, during the Monday Night Football game, if you noticed, the Rams were wearing a special shirt for the fire department, and so were the Chargers on Sunday. And I went to the NFL site to look it up. I'm not a fan of either team, but if you buy one of those two shirts, I think there may be three actually, color-wise, NFLs and Fanatics aren't keeping any of the money. They're sending it straight to the Los Angeles Fire Department firefighter fund, which, as we talked about yesterday, that is the one that goes to the actual firefighters. And I did a little more research into it, and I don't understand why it goes for, I'm air quoting here, this. It also, if a firefighter breaks an axe and they need a new one, it buys them a new axe. And now I know as a firefighter, we sometimes buy our own equipment. Like I had my own Halligan tool, which is basically a big crowbar with a pick on it. Yes, but why is that fund should be going for everything? So it is for a good fund. I just want you to know that there's a possibility that it may buy a firefighter an axe. So, where the game went sunny at work on Paramount, the players were shouting them out. Yes. They did a really good job. The Monday night game was moved because Los Angeles couldn't play in their hometown. In fact, they had to totally leave. And they just briefly referenced it, and I went and looked it up. Aside from the team, the Arizona Cardinals, the team, which is probably a group of rich people, paid for not only the team, their families and their dogs to relocate them to Arizona so they could use their stadium. That was pretty nice. That was a nice gesture. So yeah, Jason Kelsey is shouting out to the firefighters. He's done a lot. I don't know anything about Jessica Alba, so I'll leave that alone. But no, they did. They said there was, I think, 4 dogs and 2 cats, which I guess, and I got to think about, well, I guess, some of the football players are single and they have pets and they had to leave their home. So the Arizona Cardinals paid to bring them and their pets and their family and relocate them temporarily to Arizona. That's pretty dang nice. And since they won, they're now preparing for the next game. They don't have a home stadium, so Arizona is once again going to provide them the stadium to practice and train and utilize so they can fly and play. Who do they play? Oh, they play, I was drawing a blank. The Chiefs, I think. We can look that up in a minute, I think. So, Miss Michelle Obama, we know that she missed the funeral. Oh, we're not going to watch a video. No, it's not happening. We know she. Oh, I don't want to watch a. No. We're just get away from this. We know she didn't attend the funeral of President Jimmy Carter. She had a scheduling conflict and she remained in Hawaii. There's also, according to her office, some conflicts, and she will Mrs. Obama. Is that correct? Michelle Obama will not be attending Trump's inauguration. The only one that hasn't attended in history while they were alive. So, yes, Chris, thank you for reminding me. Everybody, please hit that thumbs up button. I know every YouTube channel tells you this and gets repetitive. It does help us out. I'm not asking for money, but hey, if you want to send money, buy me a Mountain Dew, that'd be cool. Is subscribe, hit the notification bell when the new shows come on. Like I said, I'm trying to do this. I'm going to try and do this every day at 2:00. I'm doing it for several reasons. One, because I like to report about things the news may not necessarily talk about. But it's out there. So please come on, join the chat, comment, chat, join, get in here. If you got a disaster or an emergency in your area, like Wendell had something happen during the show when we were signing off, there was the earthquake in Japan, yes, or China. So yeah, there's always something going on. But I didn't hit the celebrities. You can go to E! News and get the most recent ones. Ivanka Trump is apparently not going to be there for his second presidency. Don't know why. So, and you did remember a name. Yes. The Buccaneers played the Washington Commanders, Cheyenne, and Washington won by a doink. And when I say by a doink, it was in inches when he kicked the field goal. So, yeah. Yeah, who could possibly let me get my mouse over here. Chris, you're absolutely correct. Who could have possibly known that a president was going to be inaugurated on January 20th when your husband went through it twice? It's a very good point, Chris. Very good point. Mrs. Bush is going to be there. Everybody's going to be there but Michelle. Yeah, shocker. I'm not getting political. You can't make me. It's just funny. So scrolling through the headlines, the only one, there was a couple that caught my eye. Well, this one's new. Brooke Shields shares why she needs her lotions and potion to fully enjoy her sex life. I'm afraid to click on that. So you can go get the entertainment headlines. There's two that caught my eye. One was Princess Kate announces that her cancer is in remission after visiting hospital patients. That's good news. Let's hope it stays that way. I wish we could find a cure for cancer. So there's your headlines for that. I do have another story I'm going to show you here because, well, Chris and Antlers are both here. They will both enjoy this story. This one comes to us from E! News as well. And we broke a world record. OnlyFans Bonnie Blue, I love to know her real name, says she broke a record having sex with over 1,000 men in 12 hours. I've got the Guinness Book of World Records, and I don't ever recall seeing that listed in my thing. The OnlyFans model revealed that she slept with 1,057 men in 12 hours, breaking the record previously held by an adult film star Lisa Sparks. We need to get her on the show, who slept with 919 men in one day in 2004. Over 1,000 men a day. She said that was thanks to all the barely breathing and husbands. I almost want to see this. She was crying the whole time. Well, that can't be. She says she'll give you a bit of an overview. It started gangbang after gangbang, and the room was absolutely full. We did groups of 5. Okay, help me out, Chris. Groups of 5. How's that work, Chris? I need some help with this one. Our Cheyenne. Chris says, "Why wasn't he notified?" He had a few extra minutes. Hey, one person would watch whilst I was with someone else, and it would just be a rotating circle. She spent less than 1 minute per man. So does that give the new term minute man? I'm just asking for a friend. So Chris says she was not, or Cheyenne says she was not in good headspace afterwards. Yeah, I read that it bothered her. Well, she looks pretty good in her TikTok video. She says this is what she looks like after having a big day of 1,000 men. Fluids and moisturizers are good for the skin. So I don't, this is a daytime show. We're not going to go into a whole lot of it, but wow. Wow. A minute a man. Wow. So I've got so many questions, so I'm going to have to look. She says that she thinks cheating, because apparently we're married, been there, makes it a better partner. It's only a minute. I mean, the wife can hang out in the lobby, right? How does that work? Chris says, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good as I ever was. Yes. She says that she could go and sleep with as many people as she could. She said she would educate people not to do that. Well, that's probably a good idea. All right. So, Denise Richards is on OnlyFans. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to get off of that. But I did not know that was a world record, but she looks pretty good for afterwards. I mean, I don't know if she's worthy of a minute, but I'll just leave it at that. I'll hush. I'll get in trouble in the daytime network. All right. And before my men tune out, we'll just hit it real quick. I know Cheyenne will be rolling her eyes at this. The sports scores from yesterday. The NFL, of course, the Rams won in Arizona as the home team over the Vikings. Their quarterback absolutely collapsed. I have no idea what happened to the quarterback during that game. He just was not having a good day, and it just kept getting worse and worse. So that leads us to the next round of the playoffs, where the Texans play the Chiefs. The Commanders travel to Detroit Saturday night. Cheyenne, if you're planning on having a Misfits, I'll help you set it up. But baby, it's your show, because I'm going to be watching the Commanders beat the Lions. And then Sunday, we have the Rams. They are traveling to Philadelphia. Remember, I said they can't use their home field to practice and do everything. So they're still going to be in Arizona. They're still not going to be home, but they're going to be practicing and doing everything before they fly to Philadelphia. And then we have probably the best game of the day, which is the Ravens in Buffalo Sunday evening in Buffalo. Hopefully it'll be a snow game. Hopefully Philadelphia will be a snow game too. Both of those are outdoor stadiums. Man, I wish the Rams could beat the Eagles. I really want the Rams to beat the Eagles. Is that wrong of me? Is that wrong of me at all? I don't know. Call me bad names. So I'm sorry. I don't want to see them. Let's see. Yesterday, there really wasn't a whole lot of college basketball being played. I don't know who's got favorite teams where. This is today. This is yesterday. There's only two teams on. Rutgers and Maryland won yesterday in college basketball. Looks like, though, today there's quite a few games scheduled. So if you have a specific you want me to shout out, I will. NBA, don't really know a whole lot about the NBA. I'm learning. The Atlanta team sucks. They have a team in Memphis, don't they? I have to look that up. I just don't follow basketball. I did when I grew up in Washington, D.C. when we had the Bullets. So Amanda says UK plays tonight. Basketball. Okay. Who are they playing? Let's see here. College basketball. University of Kentucky. Let's see if they're playing Texas A&M. They're both 13-3. Kentucky is ranked 8th. 7:00 on ESPN2. So cool. I'm sure we'll hear Go Cats. Yeah, Go Cats. Let's see. I haven't really followed Tennessee. I knew they had only lost like 2 games. So I haven't really followed it much this season. I've had so much on my plate with other things. So Alabama plays Ole Miss. Let's hope Ole Miss. They're ranked number 4. Why? I don't like Alabama in any sport. Women's college basketball. Tonight at 7, you have a game. I don't think there were any games yesterday. Were there games yesterday? Come on, update. There we go. There was only one. LSU beat Vanderbilt. there's a shocker. And I think that's all for the sports scores. We did NBA, we did women's college basketball. I do understand that there is a professional volleyball league, and it's starting. And yeah, they do have a good team, both men's and women's. That women's coach, she's pretty amazing. They have started a professional volleyball team here in Atlanta. I don't know where the other teams are located. I found that was kind of interesting. I'll follow up on that. And there's something new. I saw it on ESPN last night. I don't know who created this, but apparently it's indoor golf and they play as teams. And they are playing. Oh, what is it tonight? And what is the, Chris, help me out here. What is the, one of the best golfers in history? He has started this in conjunction with some other people. And it's indoor golf. And it's played a different way. Now, my question is this. I know y'all are going to bitch. I'm a sports fan, but one of my favorite sports is disc golf. And there are disc golf leagues. They compete. There's men's, there's women's. We have some gray area with some people. Tiger Woods. Yes, Tiger Woods. Thank you, Cheyenne. Started the league. We have a little gray area with some people in between the men's and women's league. I'll leave it at that. Why are they not televised? We have an indoor golf. I don't understand. Why can't my disc golf be played? So Chris says, Antlers, he is impressed. Chris, I appreciate you for helping me out. You and Cheyenne and Amanda are always very helpful. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover today, and I've ran on and talked. I don't even know if I want to touch this comment. Amanda says she plays pickleball. All right, then. Another sport I don't understand. It's like ping pong on a tennis court, isn't it? I don't know. Or something else. I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I've went over by about 24 minutes, so I don't really want to go on for much longer. I think somebody's out there. Hey, how you doing? Cheyenne says she doesn't like sports doesn't mean she doesn't know the stuff. So she's playing coy is what she's doing. So, yeah, I don't want to talk for too long, but I'm also using this as an opportunity to not only grow my audience, grow my hours, grow my communication skills with others. As you know, we do the Wednesday night paranormal show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. And then we're going to continue the Misfit show. It's just going to be a little bit different. And we'll discuss that after, well, let's see. I may be free to contractually talk about it. Oh, okay. So, yes, I am free to contractually talk about it. I'm no longer affiliated with WDJY. So we are going to be non-FM. Our normal guys will still be FM on WRFN in Nashville. So we will still have radio-friendly shows, 2 hours in Nashville every Friday night. Which is good times. We appreciate WRFN. Of course, Ross at Yerg's Radio, he helps us out a lot too. You can go listen to us. He plays our replays on yergsradio.com. Cheyenne, I'll highlight your comment, but I will not say it. So this is not only getting our hours up, we're getting our thumbs up, our stuff out in the algorithm, and it's helping us out. And it's also educating me on how to share screens, do things differently. And a lot of my loyal fans, as you see, Chris and Greg, Amanda, Cheyenne, a lot of regulars, Wendell, we're all here in the chat helping me. So it's kind of, I'm using it as not only educational tool for myself, educate people on things they don't see on the news, but as a way to kind of learn how to multitask and communicate better. So I appreciate everybody for bearing with me. I told Cheyenne a long time ago when we were dealing with the Misfits that I didn't think I could do 2 hours on my own. I'm struggling to do an hour and a half with basically PowerPoint. So I'm trying. So I don't think I have any other questions or messages. So I think we'll get out of here. Let me go over here. Let's see. There's nothing new. So I don't have any new messages or unread emails. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me. Of course, we have the our guys with a Z at gmail.com. And thank you, Cheyenne. And we have my personal email, which is sportcat at protonmail.com. You can email me there. You're going to, hopefully, once I get back from Knoxville, I'm going to try and do this on one computer where I do not have two screens. I may have to buy another one because I'll go crazy. On the laptop in Knoxville. I'm not exactly 100% sure how long I'm going to be up there. So bear with me. I want to get this back to a daily news show starting every day at 2 o'clock, 1400 Eastern. And so that we can cover these things. And as we grow, I want to engage the chat audience and have them say, well, hey, like Chris says, what's going on in Chicago? What's going on in, West Virginia, Kentucky, wherever. And so we can grow it and talk it together more as a communication experience. And we're talking about things that don't make the headline news. You don't see all this stuff. Yes, we do love you, Chris. Chris, we do really appreciate you. You help spread the word. Wendell, you do too. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something. It was educational. And maybe I'm just being conspiratorial, but I still don't understand why the official government notice wasn't on the public service announcement, even though we have no advisories. I even looked up HepCon. HepCon is contagious diseases. Let's talk about, if you wanted to say COVID, we're at alpha, green. There's nothing in the world right now that we're not even on HepCon. So I don't understand how we get a public service announcement and there's no other agency acknowledging it. I don't get it. So don't get it. Maybe I'm just going down the rabbit hole. Everybody, I appreciate your love and support. After the show, I will finish up in the comments. If you want to buy me a Mountain Dew, it'd be greatly appreciated. My mouth is kind of dry, so I will see you soon. I will try and do this on Thursday. I will see you definitely Wednesday night from Knoxville. I will try and do this Thursday. I won't do it tomorrow as I'm traveling, and then we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Thank you, Ross, at Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio for allowing me to use your social network to run my mouth for almost 2 hours. Thank you to my fans, and anybody that ever wants to come on, we would welcome you. And please remember, as Chris says, hit the thumbs up button, like, follow, share, and subscribe. This will be available on Spotify later this afternoon. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you soon. I got to find the song to get me out of here. See, I'm still learning to do this stuff, Cheyenne. Everybody have a great day. Hopefully I will see you. Well, I will see you Wednesday night, and hopefully I'll see you back here at 2 o'clock Thursday.